There's a highly acclaimed Mexican restaurant tucked away here in the Southpoint shopping center in Spotsylvania. So let's go inside and check it out. Before we start the episode, I want to recognize our sponsor, Shore United Bank. Shore will be there to help guide your financial journey every step of the way. Visit them downtown or at Harrison Crossing. And now, onto this week's episode. Today I'm at 4828 Southpoint Parkway at La Tingeria with Mr. David Pena, who is the owner of this restaurant down in the Southpoint area of Spotsylvania County. So David, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for coming through. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So why don't we start back from the beginning? What was your background before you started La Tingeria?
So when I got out of high school, I went straight to construction. But after a couple of years, it was like, I knew I didn't want to do this forever. And you know, my passion was always, I love to cook. I mean, one of my first experiences was cooking eggs when I was like 5 years old. And you know, for my friends, I would always cook something. So I just knew that I had some passion for cooking. So I literally woke up one day and I was like, I just can't do this. I quit my job and went from making great money to making like $12 an hour in the kitchen. But I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And you know, luckily, I found Steve Menino, who was working at Rustico, and you know, he was willing to put me under his wing. From there, a year later, I made from Garde Manger, I went to a lead line cook. A year later from that, I went to sous chef, getting salary. So it was a really great experience working under Steve Menino.
And so I think it was 2013 when you started La Tingeria. It started as a food truck.
Yeah, it was 2012 was when I got laid off. I was devastated. I didn't know what I was gonna do. So then again, like with the name Tingeria, and I just wanted to do like my own Mexican thing. And I noticed that out here there wasn't a lot of tostada de tinga. And traditionally, like, I would want to go get tinga some nights, and I was like, there was nowhere to get it. So I was like, you know what? Let me open up my own food truck. So I had a little bit saved up. Luckily, again, because of my construction background, we bought a truck, and I was able to put everything into it myself. So that cost saved a lot of labor for me. But once COVID happened, my whole customer base just wiped out. Like I literally, there was nobody to sell to. I was at home for a couple months, and you know, I talked to my wife. I was like, look, I just can't be at home anymore. Like I have to stay productive or do something. So I was like, you know what, let's just go back out. And when I was talking to her about that, I was also talking to my friend, like, and he was like, well, what are you gonna sell? I was like, well, I'm only gonna do chicken and beef because I don't wanna bring out our whole menu if we don't know how many people are gonna show up. This is the height of COVID. He was like, well, if you're only gonna do beef and chicken, just make it halal. Because I cook for my Muslim friends every now and then, and they always recommend, hey, buy the halal meat. So when I did that and I announced it and people came through, like the lines were crazy. Like we were open from 11 to 2, 3 o'clock, but we were already selling out like at 1 o'clock, 1:30, with the line still going till 3:30. We hit a fan base that a market that was never touched. So that when we were looking at that, we're like, man, like this is something we should do. And I talked to my wife, I was like, what's the end game here? Are we just gonna keep doing this? Because people were driving from Maryland, from very far from New York, and then they were like, man, we're coming here, but then you're selling out, and we just drove like 4 or 5 hours. So that really hit me hard, and I was like, damn, I didn't want that to keep happening. So I was like, you know what, let's start looking for a brick and mortar location so we can accommodate our amount of guests that we have, and that's why we opened up Falls Church.
And when did that open?
That one opened up right after COVID, around 2020.
Okay, and then this
2021, sorry.
This here in Spotsylvania is your second location, then you have another one in Alexandria, and then I know you do some of the food service at Audi Field up in DC. You've won a lot of accolades from Washingtonian Magazine and others, and so talk a little bit about your menu and what are some of your specialties, what are you known for, what will people find here?
Well, originally I wanted people to know us about our tostada de tinga. So that's the chicken or brisket that we braise for 8 hours, shredded up, add caramelized onions and a chipotle garlic sauce that goes on top of a hard shell with lettuce, cream, and cheese. So that's our signature dish, but I would say we're most popular for our birria. That's when social media was blowing up with birria. And one thing that makes us different from other locations, a lot of people don't sell the goat. So like if you were to go to Mexico, you don't say beef or goat birria, you just say birria, and it's always gonna be goat. But another item that I would really highlight was our sopes. That's our thick handmade corn flour tortilla that we griddle, lightly fry, add a bean spread, and I always recommend that with our chorizo chicken, but you can also get it as a vegetarian item.
Well, if you look on Google, you have very high reviews. You'll see a lot of customers in here. The location here is in Southpoint. It's a little tucked away, but it seems like people are finding you here. So
yeah, it was scary getting this location because honestly, I never thought it would be in Fredericksburg. And that's why I say, like, God sometimes show you signs, and like this happened to pop up, and I was like, man, like Should I buy the house or should I get this new location? Because the price was right. The only thing was tucked back here, so that was a little worrisome. And but you know, inshallah, everything worked out. People are finding us. The Taste of Fredericksburg, I really want to give a shout out to them because we figured out that a lot of people are posting us on Taste of Fredericksburg, so they were giving us out. I think that page alone is helping a lot of these restaurants communicate and get into the community a lot.
Absolutely. So what comes next? You have aspirations for additional locations down the road?
Soon. We definitely feel like this is a franchisable type of business. We are thinking about it, but I am the sole owner right now, so it's a little tough trying to manage everything right now. I'm always in the weeds right now with the 3 location and Audi, but that is the end game that I would definitely like to be from New York all the way down to Florida, all down the East Coast.
Okay. Well, David, I had the opportunity to come here with my family a couple weeks ago, and it was really delicious. And so we wanted to come here and do this video to let more people know about La Tingeria. So congratulations on what you built and all your success, and appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you. And remember, we are top 100 restaurants 3 years running, 2023, 2024, and 2025. So people know that's one of the top 100 best restaurants in Washingtonian Magazine.
So come check it out for yourself. 4828 Southpoint Parkway here in Spotsylvania County, right off of exit 126 and of Interstate 95. That's going to do it for this week's edition. Appreciate you watching. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter at fredericksburgfreepress.com and also our YouTube page. We'll keep you up to date on business activity here in the Fredericksburg region. See you next week. And thanks again to our sponsor, Shore United Bank.